Good evening and welcome to Telling Tales. Here we tell atmospheric stories together through the medium of tabletop role-playing games. It's Monday night, which means you are watching us play Shadows of Esteren, which is a dark gothic fantasy game from Studio Agate, who are a French company. This is the English translation of their game. I think we're all really enjoying it. And yeah, it's going to be good. So below the video are links to our Twitch if you're on YouTube, or YouTube if you're on Twitch, our Discord, which you should join and come and chat to us about all things tabletop role-playing games and otherwise. And our social media is also below, our Twitter and Instagram, and our Patreon, which if you enjoy the shows that we put out, you can help support the channel. Promo things, Wednesday nights on the channel, Simba Room. Thursday nights, the new World of Darkness series that Matt is running, which is going to span 5 different World of Darkness systems and be one big interlinked thing. So the first episode was out last week, which you can watch in VOD form on here or YouTube. And the first Saturday of every month, we have a different one-shot adventure run by different GMs with different players, different games. So far, we've had Alien, Troika, Morkborg, Fiasco, The Expanse, Honey Heist, The One Ring, Dungeon World, Wander Home, and June was on the Saturday just gone. And if you join our Discord, I don't think it's been on other social media, but it might have been, there is the possibility to vote on the December one-shot, which is going to be a sequel to one of the ones that we've done this year. So if you want more bears stealing honey, then make sure that you get on there and vote for Alien. Wait, no. So anyway, the show. Let's bring on Justin, who plays Fulgur. Hi, Justin.
Indeed. Hi, how's it going?
How are you? Good. Thank you. Good. Do you want to take us through the beginning of last session?
Yeah, so we stumbled out of the chestnut, old chestnut.
The old chestnut.
And discovered that the local well had a number of dead birds around it. And after some investigation that involved some alchemical experiments, we found a strange, oily, salty substance that was extracted from the water that could be some kind of poison or disease or remnant, or maybe it's just some scum. We're not entirely sure. But possibly that is linked to this strange contagion that struck the village. This led to a town meeting where Fulgur and also Essen MacLear, the adopted child into the MacLear family, helped calm some tempers that were running high with accusations flying about why this liquid might be in the water supply. It was agreed that the townsfolk would go and collect fresh water and that our team would go and investigate the problem. Starting at the castle.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think the blacksmith especially was kind of questioned on his, because his smithy is near the river.
He was accused of industrial waste contamination.
Yes.
Of the local water supply, a charge that only in modern day Britain is not punishable by severe fines.
Yeah. Let's bring on Steve, who plays Ragnar. Hi, Steve.
Hi there.
So when you left the council meeting on the way to the castle,
yes, we were rudely accosted by this old, frail-looking person, old man in tattered clothes, who just started yelling things at us in a way that wasn't at all, creepy or foreboding. And yes, he came out with the promised pestilence falls upon you, and I told you it would happen. And then he started coughing in a really disgusting manner. We tried to get some information out of him, but he just called us all sinners. And then threw a rock at us and ran off at weird speed, far too fast.
It was a big rock, wasn't it?
It was a big rock. Yes, it was. Yes, Ragnall could not lift it in the same easy manner.
And Ragnall lift.
Yeah. So there's something afoot. There's this old hermit is not. We can't really take him at face value. There's definitely something going on there.
Yeah. And then you headed up to the castle, and let's bring Inga on, who plays Sophia. Hi, Inga.
Hiya.
Yeah, tell us a little about your trip to the MacLear homestead.
Yeah, because it was the Lord MacLear who got ill first. Vulgar had been keen to go to the castle anyway, but especially after all the latest stuff, and meeting Essen, where we decided to head up to the castle. And Essen sort of took us up and introduced us to the Lady MacLear, who was the wife of the dead lord. She was pretty keen on some vengeance or justice, depending on which way you look at it, I guess, on whoever's fault it was. That all of this has sort of been come upon the village and in particular her family. We kind of pried a little bit and found out that because she's been fine, but her husband died, her son is ill, as well as a few others. And the thing that seems to be different about what she's done and what they've done was that they'd gone on a hunting trip that she doesn't much fancy. She didn't seem very keen on hunting. So that was kind of the lead that we ran with. So we spoke to her son, Erwin, who's still quite poorly. He got his sort of herbal remedies and things. And he didn't have like a whole lot of info that he could give us, but he suggested we speak to Vig, the guy the sort of soldier who'd been like leading the hunt, and who has got a bit more info about all of that. He's also ill in the same sort of way. So we went and chatted to Vig, and he told us that they had stopped to drink from the river, which they wouldn't normally necessarily do on the hunting trips, but it'd been an especially long hunt, and they kind of had to stop and refill their water skins and things. And given that we knew that the river in the village had been poisoned, or seems to be affected, having tested it, that sort of seemed like a potential cause. But it was otherwise a normal hunting afternoon. So we'd kind of pried around a few other things. We kind of determined that they usually eat the meat fresh, so it's probably nothing there new to test. There wasn't anything else that seemed sort of unusual. It would otherwise been a pretty normal hunt. They'd got ill pretty quickly after coming back, within a day or so. But that was kind of it. There was nothing really kind of else other than the water seeming to still be our main lead. We asked a little bit about this hermit old man guy as well, given he's just sort of accosted us and seems to keep sort of rocking up, and apparently has turned up at the castle before as well. But no one really seems to know very much about him. Everyone just sort of says like, oh, he's always been here, which seems a little bit weird because no one's always been somewhere. So they kind of suggest that maybe he speaks to the oldest people in the village. They might know a bit more, but he's sort of just always been around, as far as everyone that we spoke to seems to know. So we in the castle courtyard as well, there was a well in the courtyard. So we took some water that we were going to test from the well in the castle. And we'd also sort of asked to fetch some of the water skins from the hunt if there was anything left that we could test there. But just as we were about to do that, we heard an ear-piercing scream from the village. Dun, dun, dun.
And unfortunately, Sam can't join us tonight. So what would you three like to do?
Well, I think Ragnall would look up into the skies immediately to see whether the name of the crow, Morag. The crow. Yes, whether Morag is sort of circling, or any form of indication as to where in the village this event might be taking place.
So let me. I think Theon, Sam's character, would probably sort of wave Morag away towards the village to sort of go and scope out. So you can hear the general direction.
Is it one person, or is it several screens?
Make me a perception roll.
Okay.
Everyone, in fact, can do this.
I rolled a 2, and I add 2 to it, making 4.
2. Oh, okay. That's not your bonus. That's just right.
2
I-
2 is my bonus, and with
Okay.
my roll.
I also rolled a 2, but I add 6 to it, so 8.
Considerably better.
Okay.
Played
I
too
think
many
either
game
way,
systems
Fulgur
recently.
will be heading in the direction of the village straight away.
That's an 8 total for me.
Cool.
I think we'd also maybe just look to Essen and see if Essen seems to do anything particular upon hearing the scream.
He seems mildly less interested than you do. Which
Does it happen all the time? Are screams commonplace? And
you think it's probably more that it doesn't necessarily affect this area. And there's obviously quite a lot going on here at the moment anyway. He's probably kind of got other things on his mind than
He's a busy
he
man.
notices it and
family's
sort of
dying.
looks in the direction of the village from inside the walls, as you naturally do when you hear a sound. But yeah, I think you three probably seem more like you might investigate it than he does. For the Ragnar and Sophia, it's one voice.
well, I think yes, Ragnar will.
Tell Theon to stay where he is. and we'll go on and investigate.
Is there the castle? Was there a portcullis? Was there some sort of gate
Yes.
style?
Yeah.
Right. I guess we'll have to wait for that to be. I don't know whether it's open at the moment, but.
Oh, that can be. Yeah, I think at the sight of you clearly planning on heading out, Aeson kind of gives a gesture to the people on the gate to open that for you.
Great.
Yeah, we'll follow if the others are kind of running off in that direction.
We'll see what it is. We'll be back as soon as we can.
He kind of waves you off, and you cross the viaduct bridge back towards the village, and following the sounds of the screams, you come to the door of the house opposite the old Chestnut Inn, which you can see there on the right hand side of that image.
Would we know whose house that was from when we've been here?
You probably wouldn't. But the door is closed. And you hear this screaming coming from inside.
Right, okay. In that case, I'll start banging on the door and see if anyone opens it.
Also, is it still in the town? I know we had the town meeting and everyone was off to do different jobs, but is anybody else still around? Because the well was nearby as well, right?
Yes, if you sort of take a moment to kind of drink in the general look of the village, you notice that a couple of people are sort of wandering around. They are obviously noticing the sound and look quite uncomfortable, but don't seem shocked or overly concerned. Which is obviously a little strange.
Yeah, I think Sophia will stop to drink in the environment while Fulgur is bashing his way through.
Hey, knocking on the door. Someone's in trouble here.
So you hear another scream after you knock on the door, and then the door swings open, and a young but very tired and haggard-looking woman answers the door, and says, "Yes."
Is everything okay? There's screaming from your house.
Well, everything isn't okay, but it's nothing to concern yourselves with, and I'm sure that I'm sure he'll be gone soon.
If there's anything at all we can do to help,
Who's gone?
My husband, Naylan, he's not well.
What do you mean he's not well? The sickness, or is it something else? What?
I'm not
can I
sure.
do like a relation roll to kind of try and read between the lines here about what's going on?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Right, we'll roll that. I rolled a 10 plus my 8, 4 for empathy, 4 for relation skills. That makes 18.
Nice.
Wow.
That's the one thing I do good.
So, she is obviously caring for her very ill husband. From what she says or anything, you can't get too much more information from her, but she says, "You're welcome to come and visit him if you please. You're the people who brought the herbs, aren't you?"
Indeed. Is that what he's suffering from?
It seems to be, but maybe worse.
Perhaps, if it's not too much trouble, it could be useful for us to see your husband's condition.
Of course. Please come in, but just be aware that it's
Oh,
quite
yes,
difficult to see.
Um,
Do you want to step outside? Give some room. Leave some room for these to take a look and get some fresh
Yes,
air.
perhaps I should have some air. Yes. Yeah,
I'll
she
stay
steps outside.
with
Okay. I think Theon would be going in as well as whoever else is going in. Are the Ragnar and Folger going in?
I think so, yes. Well, I am.
Okay. So, in a shuttered room where light rays scarcely break through, a young man is lying on a bed. The stench of decay is hardly bearable. The whistling breath of the sick man shows that his respiratory system is badly affected. Fortunately, the part of his face destroyed by the poison is hidden by bandages. When you arrive, he tries to move towards you, revealing a part of his jaw ravaged by a purulent gangrene. Poor Naylan cannot speak anymore, his begging eyes filled with a violent pain interspersed with amber veins. Obviously, the young man is doomed. Can you each make a mental resistance roll, please? Apart from Inga, because she's outside.
Oh, dear.
right. And this resistance roll.
Is this a D10 plus the mental resistance stat?
Yes.
Plus your mental resistance stat.
Yes.
That's a lot. I rolled
What
a
is
7.
it?
My
What is
resistance
the
stat is
target
10.
for this?
Mine's 17.
Wow. I rolled a 7. My mental resistance is 6, so it's 13.
Okay, so Ragnall starts to feel quite unwell, and you feel an overwhelming urge to leave the room.
I'll just turn around and sort of clutch at the door frame and just head straight out again, I think.
Yeah, so he kind of collapses back in his bed after kind of attempting to get your attention.
Is there maybe like a moist, like flannel or something nearby? Something to kind of...
There is like a small wooden pot of water on the bedside table, which has a flannel kind of laid across the side of it, which is obviously being used as a sort of pat on his head.
Then I'll take that up and start doing that. And, just trying to assuage the man's kind of, discomfort. And if it looks like they're able to, gaining the strength to talk at all, then I might start trying to ask them questions.
You don't think is going to ever be in a state to speak to you. And his wife may be a better bet for information than he is.
Now, I am notoriously poor at perceiving things, but at this point I think Fulgur would look around the room for any signs about this person's character, maybe whether they are also a hunter or might have some reason to go into the woods, and also maybe whether they have any kinds of religious objects that they might want close to them this time, such as a symbol to the one god or to the pagan gods that the folk here seem to still worship. It's still a respectable religion.
You're not going to judge.
Oh, I don't judge. So I'm going to make a roll for perception, if that's okay.
Yeah, great.
Details. And I rolled another 2, and so I rolled a total of 4.
Okay. I think
seeing nothing,
yeah.
Marvelous.
I think Theon probably pulls out some herbs and kind of is attempting to administer some kind of stuff to this man, which gives you a bit of a chance to look around the room a little while he still is being cared for. What you do notice in the room is some mining gear. So a pickaxe and some sort of heavy clothing that you imagine might be worn.
I have no idea whether this pickaxe will or won't be useful, but as they're not going to be needing it, I'll bring it to the attention of Theon and go, is there anything from this that you might be able to decipher?
He's kind of still mashing some herbs and says, not apart from him maybe working in the mines somewhere.
Well, the Lord was out of town when he was infected. This man's infection is far progressed.
It may be worth mentioning to Waylon as our touch point on this. Inga, are you having any discussion with Naelin's wife?
Yeah, I think Sophia will be kind of asking about, sort of, I guess like Sophia's kind of worried that like she's been a bit vague. Trying to understand why she's screaming because her husband is sick. Like what has prompted the scream, and I guess trying to like just gently sort of probe for how she's doing. And that was just why she wanted to kind of pull her out. So yes, something along those lines. Maybe sort of how are you? What just happened? Are you all right?
He's unwell. It's been like this for a few days, but I think it's nearing an end now.
Has he lashed out at you in his sickness? Are you all right? He hasn't hurt you, has he?
No, I'm fine. I'm fine. It's not been a few days at all. It's been weeks, but I've barely slept.
Weeks?
Yes, but it seems to be, well, reaching some kind of end point now, I think.
I thought, I didn't realize the sickness had been going on so long. We thought the Lord was the first to be ill. That was more recent. I've got the timing right on that, haven't I, Jonny? It wasn't weeks ago. Yeah.
I think that was our understanding. Yeah.
Well, I'm not even sure if it's the same thing. Nobody else has looked quite like he has, or seemed to have been in quite as much pain.
Has Wayland seen your husband? Has he received treatments?
Yes, but I think they're now having very little effect. You heard him screaming, I presume.
Oh, that was your husband. I'm sorry. I thought that might have been you. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's how it's going on for weeks, and you've been keeping up. How have you been keeping up with this?
We do things for the people we love, don't we?
Do you have anybody to help you here?
People from the village help when they can, but they all have their own families, and most of them have somebody who's ill that they care about.
And you haven't been ill yourself?
Not yet. I'm sure my time will come.
You seem strong. Maybe you're right. Have hope. Have you that we've brought some new herbal remedies to Wayland that she thought would be helpful? Perhaps there may be something there that could help with your husband. But if he's been sick and you haven't been, what has he done differently than you? What does he do? Where's he been? Has he seen anybody? What?
He walks to his work in the mine at the top of the mountain, and he walks back, and then the rest of the time we are together.
Are any of them other miners? Have they been sick?
I haven't seen Oktar for a while.
I'm sorry. Who is Oktar? Where, if we wanted to inquire about them, where would we go?
Oktar is Nalen's partner, but he lives on his own in the village, and I don't think that he has been home for a little while.
Would he be at the mine if he's not at home?
Perhaps. I
I know Fionn, who's gone in to see your husband. He's a fantastic healer. I'm sure if there's anything that can be done, Fionn will be doing his best for your husband. I'm sure Ragnall's probably come out by now.
Yes, I'll have
There's
been. I
anything you
sort
want
of came
to-
out looking ashen-faced, and will have probably just walked a few paces away and sort of faced away from the group for a few moments.
Or maybe suggest that maybe she was. Sorry, did we get her name already? The wife's name? No.
No.
So I will ask her name.
I'll have to think of one now, won't I?
Wow.
Sorry.
Names are tricky
Wow.
things.
Husband has a name, wife doesn't. Absolutely ridiculous. Get your stuff together, Agate. Just wife.
Her
Profession,
name.
wife. Interests,
It's
being a
found
wife,
funny.
caring, housework.
Her name is Adelaine.
Cool.
Yeah, do you want take a seat, Adelaine? Just take a moment, take a moment's rest, and then I'll head to Ragnall and sort of say, "Are you all right? What happened?"
I will try to whisper quietly. He is desperately ill. I do not do well with sickness. It was not a pleasant sight.
Does it look like the same sickness as the others?
Worse. I didn't stay there for long. No, it looks worse.
He's been
Rot.
sick.
Decay.
He's been sick for weeks. The Lord was not the first to be ill.
We need to tell. Well, surely Waylon must know, but we should pass this on. Visit the mine, maybe.
Yeah, I think. Presumably, the mine, Jonny would. Well, I don't know whether we know this, but she said it was at the top of the mountain, right? So it was at the mountain. So presumably, there will be. We could follow the river back. There'll be some sort of. I have no idea how mines work. I don't know whether they tend to avoid rivers or be close to them or anything, but would we have any idea of whether they kind of converge or are close?
Yeah,
Is it in
you'll
the
be
same
able to
direction
find
as-
your way there.
Yeah. Is it in the
Yeah.
same direction as the hunting grounds that
Yeah.
we were going to go visit?
They're not like right there next to each other, but they're sort of in the same vague area,
Sure.
sort of uphill from the village.
Yeah.
The geographer in me is thinking about catchment areas, but I've got to say, Fulgur is not a geographer. He's
Well,
barely
as-
a guffer of any kind.
I mean, in terms of sort of landscape and water flow and stuff like that, Ragnall would certainly be interested from a hunter's point of view of how these things connect and whether it could potentially be a source of the water flowing into the rivers by the village.
Yeah.
Just musing on that.
Yeah, having heard the sort of accusations about maybe the blacksmith dumping things in the river and contaminating it, just wondering if there's anything that could have come from the mines that could have like that. That's kind of the way Sophie is sort of thinking. But
That's true. I mean, a lot of the things processed in the blacksmith will have come from the mine.
also true, yeah. But yeah, so I think Sophia will kind of wait for the others to come out and.
Well, if there's nothing more to be done, and the dying man's pain appears to be subsiding briefly, then I probably would head back out.
Cool.
Whatever Fionn has done has been somewhat effective in reducing the man's pain.
Thank you.
We are going to try and get to the bottom of all of this. What little good that does for you.
If it stops others from having to go through this, then
Let's
it is
hope it does.
worthwhile.
I think we should stop by Wayland's on the way back to the castle. Let us know. And if people agree to that, I will tell them what I've learned from Adelaide on the way. And suggest that we head towards the mines. And also that we should maybe check in on if we know anything about Octa, the other miner. But so maybe we can ask Wayland about that.
Cool. So you're heading over to Wayland's shack.
Yep.
Cool. Yet the door is slightly ajar, still quite a pungent smell coming out. She's obviously still working on creating things. And as you sort of get to the door, she turns and says, how are your investigations going?
Confusingly. Do you know Naylan across from the inn?
Yes. It's a very unwell young man.
He seems to. We spoke to his wife. She said he's been ill for weeks. The sickness is. This is earlier than Lord Maclear.
Yes. I'm still unsure if it's linked. Just because of the amount of time that has passed between him being ill and others becoming ill. Besides which, he's been in no state to help provide us any information.
Well, I think we need to go to the mine where he's been. Apparently, his partner Octa has also not been seen in some time. He could also be ill. So there may be a much closer connection between the timings of people being ill. If the two of them, where would we find Octa if we needed? Where is his home?
It's very near Nayland's home, or he's been spending a reasonable amount of time at the inn lately.
Well, we didn't see him there, did we? I presume we didn't.
No, you not as far as. No, I think when the night that you got there was nobody there when you got there, and in the council meeting you wouldn't have necessarily known if you'd seen him, but.
Yeah.
Well, perhaps we should quickly try knocking on his door first before we head back up to the castle.
Maybe ask for somebody to let us in if there's no answer.
I think that's a good idea.
I wonder whether they've broken through, if they, whilst mining, disturbed something or...
My thoughts exactly.
If you are heading upriver, would you do me a kindness and check on Gota at the mill? Shouldn't be far out of your way and you can't miss the mill. But we've had no flour delivery in a couple of days and I'm becoming concerned about them.
Of course.
Is that in the direction of the mine or in the towards the hunting grounds? Or
both. Both.
Right.
Did you know them to be ill, or have you just suddenly not heard from them?
Not at last time they were here, they didn't seem ill.
When was that?
That may have 3 days ago.
Yes, we can check in.
Thank you.
If we knock on Octa's door, or indeed Gota's door, and we don't have any answer, who is the best person to speak to about being let in? Would there be another person that we could call upon?
Octa's only close friend in the village really was Nayland, so unless they have a key for his home, but I can't see any reason that they would that Octa would feel the need to give somebody a key to his home, so there may not be one, I'm afraid.
That's all right. Well, we learned some more information at the castle as well about. It seemed that the Lord and his son had gone on a hunting trip. That was going to be our other lead. That seemed to be the thing that they'd done that the Lady Maclear hadn't. If the mine is up towards that direction as well, it seems that there's something further uphill that may be the source of all of this. That's why we're going to explore, investigate.
Yes, very, very wise, I think.
Is the town getting on all right with collecting water? Has any more been tested? Is the snow water safe?
The snow water seems to be safe, yes.
Good.
I think we can leave Maltaria's stocks alone, which is obviously very preferable for the children.
Of course. They might not agree, but
A bit of ale never hurt anyone.
A bit is correct, however, their sole source of fluids, it may be a little much.
This explains so much about you, Fulgur.
Very weak beers these days. The city beers are much stronger, I tell you.
All right, well, we'd best get on and leave you to your medicines.
Thank you again for your help.
I don't. If we're gonna have Visha, I don't trust her at all.
Charming. Yeah. So on the way back, Ragnar will pop by the old chestnut and collect, because we kind of rushed out this morning and didn't really have much time to prepare. So if we're journeying anywhere, then Ragnar will pick up his traveling kit and various weapons and so on, just to be on the safe side.
Good thinking. Sophia travels pretty light. I don't think she probably doesn't have very much else that she didn't already have with her. Yeah, we'll head towards Octa's whenever everyone's ready.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah. No answer at the door, and silence from inside.
Can we look through a window? Is there anything that we can see? Disrepair or disarray?
It's dark inside. You can see a little though, and it is in mild disarray. It doesn't look like somebody has come storming through, throwing things around, looking for anything, or as if there's been a fight or anything. It looks like somebody who is not taking care of their surroundings.
Makes sense.
Does it look like the door can be jimmied at all? Way of, without just smashing it in.
Well, potentially.
the stealthier approach than just bash down the door.
What role do I want for this?
Craft or stealth?
Yeah, I'm kind of verging towards stealth.
I wonder what the specialities are for stealth.
Unless you've got
Is there
any
like a
re-
pickpocketing or something.
Um,
That's another question. Probably not best served right now.
I can roll stealth. That's a 9 plus 15 total. If it's stealth.
yeah. You managed to. What are you going to do to try and get in?
A fine question. I mean, assuming that doors are much the same. I know there must be some sort of, I don't know, like, can you use like a travel fork or something to, kind of jimmy a lock even? I don't think I'd have like a thief's kit or anything like that. I'm not a thief, but using something along those lines.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. So you managed to sort of, sort of move the lock out of its point, basically, and the door kind of jumps inside a little.
I will open the door and say, "Oh, look, it opened."
Is anyone around, like watching us, or?
No. A lot of the villagers are either taking care of people who are ill or off finding water of some description. So the village is pretty quiet.
I've never seen anyone do that before.
I'll just shrug, very like I didn't do anything. And
What are you talking about?
and head on in.
Yeah, it does appear that the craft skill has a speciality of locksmithing. Brackets includes picking locks.
Okay.
So,
Crafting. There's pickpocket. I think there was.
pickpocket is a stealth discipline. Not that I think it's appropriate to use or anything. I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah.
Cool.
I can reroll if you want to.
No, you're fine. You're fine. So you going in? Okay.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, much as I described previously, there are sort of dirty clothes left around and sort of bits of food left on cabinets, and it just looks like somebody is sort of living quite slobbily here. Whether or not that's out of character for Octa, you don't know. But
does the food look? I don't know if there's any way of telling any food that's left over. Like, does it? Is it like bread that's a day old, or is it like rock solid or going moldy from being out for a lot? Like any signs
of life?
Yeah.
They are varying. If you spend some time looking around, so there are.
Well, I'll be mostly looking for Octa.
Like maybe calling out his name.
Yeah.
These are relatively small homes, so this is like 2 rooms. So
okay, yeah. Well, if there's
no
any
Octa
sign
here.
of Octa, no.
Is there any sign of mining kit?
Make me a perception roll for how much you're poking around.
I this time rolled an 8 and got 10 total.
I'll roll as well, but I think not with a whole lot of hope. I'll be looking more for like papers, if there's any kind of journals or like maps of like where he might be mining, like any kind of records of mining stuff, or just anything written, basically.
Okay.
Well, I rolled a 1 twice So I don't know whether a critical failure has an impact here, but yes, total score
Just walk into a wall.
probably
It's very dark in here.
tripping over things, spamming plate.
No, it doesn't have an adverse effect other than you not finding what you're looking for.
Okay, that's good. I'll take that.
I rolled at 13 for me total.
Okay. You sort of following Ragnar around the room, kind of looking around a bit. And Ragnar trips a little over what looks kind of like a loose floorboard to begin with, near the bed. And then Sophia goes to sort of step over it to stop from tripping, and then realizes that it's actually looks like it might be the handle of a pickaxe poking out from under the bed.
Yeah, I mean, if I find anything hidden, I'll pull it out and have a look. But, yeah. But no papers or anything.
Papers. No, nothing that is sort of relevant to anything that you're looking for.
Okay. Probably losing interest then, and we'll sort of.
Yeah,
Sure,
the day's happening. Should we get to the?
Yeah, I was expecting
road.
not to. If he was at the mine, I would have expected not to find a pickaxe here.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Could be a spare.
I
You
guess.
never know how often you break pickaxes doing this kind of work.
Yes. Do we want to let names Erwin? No, Essen.
Essen.
Do we want to let them know that we're where we're headed?
I think we should, and perhaps a day or two's worth of food might not go amiss if we're going to be travelling in the wilderness and water. We don't know how long we might be out for.
Yeah.
We might be
How far is it?
we might be a little wary of the water.
Mm.
Of course.
Yeah, well, I'm all for heading to the castle, getting those things prepared, and then heading on.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Yep, head on up to the castle then.
Cool. As you are approaching the gate, you hear a shout, and then you see Essen kind of come up to the gate and gestures for the gate to be opened for you to enter. And he says, is all well in the village? Well as it has been, I suppose.
The villagers are getting water. The snow water seems to be safe. We actually, the scream we heard was from one of the villagers who's been sick. It turns out for much longer actually than the Lord Maclear was sick. That there's maybe there's something else going on. But we're going to continue on our travels and testing the water up the river. It maybe possibly some connection with the mines. But we'll keep investigating. I suppose we ought to test your well here still. We ran off a little before we could finish doing that for you. But
yes, no, that's no problem. Yes, I've collected some apparatus for doing that. He kind of turns to Fionn as he says that, and Fionn starts to head inside.
Shall we leave Fionn doing that then whilst we head off, or
Yeah, why
is that
not?
something that? I mean, if it's something that Fionn could do quickly and then rejoin us, then that's one thing, I guess. But obviously, dealing with absent.
We could leave signs for him on the road, and he could come
Yes.
find us. While hiding.
Join us at the mill, maybe.
Fulga, did you want to collect any supplies from, or was there anything else you wanted to do here in the castle?
Yeah, I mean, is it possible for SN to just arrange for like a couple of days worth of food for us?
Yes. Yeah, that's fine.
Right.
So yeah, he basically talks to somebody and they disappear off, and return.
I was going to say the water test presumably can be done in the time that we're waiting for supplies to be gathered, right? So would we get the result? Like, would we see if the waters here is safe or not before we head off?
Yes. So yeah, you get the food, and Theon comes to the door, smiling and holding a sort of conical glass kind of thing, with full of steaming water, in some tongs, and says, No amber particles. This well seems to be safe to drink from.
That's good news.
Very good news. Is SN around to hear this?
Yes, yeah, he's still stood there. He says, perhaps this is fed from a different offshoot of the river than the village is.
Still, we can't rule out that it could be poisoning of the wells. We should make sure that every effort's taken so that nothing is introduced to it.
Yes, perhaps somebody should guard it. I guess it's within the courtyard. It's within the castle grounds, so it will be safer than the one in the town centre. But yes, keeping an eye on it would be sensible.
Lord Essen, will you and the lady be sharing the water, do you think? It could do a lot of good if there's a reliable supply for the town. The village.
I'm sure that it could be sparingly shared if they require more than they have gathered.
Well, we should be off.
I hope that your journey is safe, and I hope that you find out who is responsible for this, and well, that they learn about justice.
I know Sophia's not got anything else to say out loud to that, so we'll look like we're ready to make a move. We'll probably just make a move.
That's not suspicious at all. Let's let's go.
Jonny, did we know if the family? I mean, because are they like Fulgur? Do they follow the one god? Has there been any sign of that?
You haven't picked out what religion, if any, they follow.
So there's not necessarily like a common theme that sort of knight type people would be one god followers or anything that we would. Or I'm just wildly based on the experience of knowing Fulgur.
No, if anything, in this region, unless people have come from somewhere else, they're not massive. Although you're kind of quite near the border here, so it fluctuates a bit. But yeah, you would expect them more to be towards an older thing rather than that. Yeah, like I said, you're quite near the border, so if they did say that they followed the one god, you wouldn't be like, whoa. But yeah, you are still on this kind of kingdom.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Yeah, just I guess maybe a little bit of a comment, sort of half under breath, half to the rest of the group once we're kind of out the castle, about the way they talk about justice. It sounds like a threat almost.
Well, I've been travelling to try and see if I can find a lord in these lands that's worth serving. Hopefully the lady of this castle might be better than some of the other ones I've encountered.
Are they all like this?
I think in these difficult places, it tends to be that the powerful hold on to power.
Unless somebody poisons their wells. Food for thought. But yeah, then I guess we're just traveling on. I guess towards the mill would be the first thing we'd come across, right?
You would imagine so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's just take
heading-
the road and towards the mill and see what we find.
That sounds reasonable.
Cool. So you're early afternoon at this point. And the wind is picking up a little, and as you're kind of walking along the path, you think, am I hearing some strange noises on the wind, or is that just the wind? Is it the wind through the trees? And then
Just the
you
wind.
kind of, the wind dies down for a moment and you kind of forget about it until it picks up again a little while later, and you think maybe the same thing.
Just the wind.
Very poor.
After a little-
Screw yourself.
Fulgur might announce loudly that it's just the wind.
How confident does Fulgur sound when he's
Very
saying
confident.
that? Pretty confident, yeah.
I feel like the
I mean-
level of Fulgur's confidence on that is disproportionately related to like how unconfident Sophia feels about it.
Again, with a one in creativity, I think it may be beyond Fulgur to imagine that there could be something else above the wind. It's not the natural instinct of this for Fulgur's character.
Yeah. Well, Ragnar and Fiona have spent a fair amount of time traveling outside. So in terms of weird noises in the trees, they're probably rather more well placed to determine whether it's just the wind or not. But I guess we'll find out.
Okay. Can you all make perception rolls?
I've changed dice now, so
Very smart.
yes. Is this for would good hearing? Keen hearing?
It'll be seeing.
Seeing. That's fine. I have a bonus in that.
10 total for me.
I got
Okay.
50% higher on my roll, so a 3,
Wow.
and that makes total 5.
Nice.
I get 13.
Okay. Ragnall spots slightly off from the road what looks like a small shack as you are walking. Definitely not a mill.
Okay. And this isn't the area that. Do we know? Is this the area that we expect the hermit to?
It could be.
Well, I'll point this out. There is that shack over there. Do you think that's where the hermit lives?
Not likely.
One way to find out.
I suppose if there is someone living there, they could be ill, and it would be good to check on them. Tell them there are herbs in the village.
That's a reasonable cover story, I guess.
So
Yeah.
suspicious.
I love Fulgur's look of offence there.
Cover story. Just trying to help people out.
Well, if it is that, you saw how strong that hermit was. If he does live here, then he might not be well disposed to us.
Maybe wait here, just in case if it is him and he bolts out. We might.
Nonsense. Let's just go straight over to the door and knock on
No,
it.
no harm in just taking a moment, Fulgur.
As you wish.
And can I try and creep quietly, maybe like around the back or wherever it doesn't look like there's a window, and see if there's just anything they kind of discern before outright knocking and announcing ourselves?
Sure. Do you want to make me a stealth roll?
I sure do. 13.
Okay. So, yeah. So the side that you're coming from has no windows. You see past the shack, the river kind of winds around, and between the shack and the river, there are some. There's like a vegetable patch. Do you want to make a perception roll as well?
Uh, 10.
Okay.
You see cabbages in the vegetable patch.
You hear some noise from inside, sort of movement noises. So you're pretty certain that there is somebody in there.
And it looks like there's just the one entrance in and out. Does it? Just the one door? It's like just a little shack.
Are you wanting to go around the front of the shack? Because you think this is probably the back.
Yeah, around the back. Yeah, I wanted to go around the back, at least around the back first, to rather than going straight to the door. Try to follow the way where it looks like there are no windows and doors. Just kind of validate that, rather than being like, here I am.
Yeah. So the side where the road is essentially the back, and the door is around the other side. So there's a door and a window around that front side, which is facing the river. And then there are no windows on any other sides of the shack.
Okay, cool. I'll maybe then gesture to the others that you can come and have a look.
I'll just stride on over.
Okay. Yes, I guess so. I might try to be a little. Well, there's no point, is there? I'll just.
I'm not like shaking and jingling as I go. But
yes, but what is your stealth score?
I mean, I've got a reasonable stealth score. I can be stealthy if I need to. I've got.
I'm not sure I can.
Sneaky night.
Head over. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and sometimes you just got to be quiet. But I'm not trying to this time.
You've actually, on the way here, you've sort of moved into a slightly snowy area, so the sound is quite deadened anyway, apart from the gentle crunching of the snow, which you can kind of take care of by treading carefully. So you get over to the shack. Again, you see the river kind of winding around, and then between the shack and the river is what looks to be a vegetable patch. Do both of you want to make perception rolls when you get here?
Sounds reasonable.
2. It's a total of 4.
Is this sight based?
Yeah.
Based. Right.
So we'll do sight.
Oh dear God.
Just stare at the sky, I guess.
I rolled another 1. So 7.
Still better than me.
Yeah, you don't notice anything. You do, however, hear the door at the front of the shack open.
Oh.
Before we get a chance to knock or anything.
Yes.
Yeah. See what happens when the door opens, I guess.
Fulgur entered full stealth mode there.
Sorry about that.
It's all right.
Click the wrong button. I was so excited.
So yeah, the door is opened. I'm assuming that you're still kind of around the side that isn't where the door is. So you're kind of around the back of the shack, and you hear the door at the front open.
Oh, I was assuming we'd head towards. Sorry, I was like gesturing over, as in like let's go and like knock rather than.
Oh, okay.
Come around to sneak.
In that case, you see the hermit wander out of the front, kind of hunched over, and is still in his tattered clothes and disheveled looking. And he says, "Come to visit Ergor, have you?"
Just travelling by.
Well, better get you some stew then. Come on in. He goes inside.
I'm waiting to see what Fulker's move is here.
I don't like him. I don't think we should go in.
Well, we do have pressing.
Yeah. He's strong. He's clearly deeply troubled, to say the least.
Are you
I can't imagine his stews are any good.
So are we? No one's made a move yet. Then we're stopping to.
Can you all make perception rolls while you're kind of having this chat?
Yeah.
I rolled 8. Well, I got an 8 overall.
12.
16.
Ragnall sees out of the dimness in the shack, kind of as you're discussing, kind of out of the corner of your eye, you just see.
Just staring at us.
Just staring, yeah.
From inside the thing.
It's quite hypnotic, his gaze.
You know, I suppose if we talk to him now, then we can get this whole thing out of the way.
Yeah, I think so.
Following us later.
So Sophia will have started heading in. I think like slowly, tentatively, but making a move towards the shack rather than stopping to chat about it.
Okay, well, I'll follow.
Got to make friends when you travel.
But I might whisper, don't eat the stew. Don't trust the stew.
He says, "Don't get many visitors, so you might have to sit on the floor." And then picks up a big pot of stew and pours out 3 bowls. I think Ragnall...
Is Fionn with us? No.
Yes.
Fionn is with us. Okay, yeah.
I think Ragnall especially would notice that this man picking up this giant pot of stew is quite out of the ordinary. He pours bowls out for everybody and kind of slides them across the floor towards each of you. And then he sips some of it out, and then you see him kind of pick out some bits. Perception rolls again, please.
Roll a 2. 24.
15. I rolled a 10.
Nice.
I got an 8.
Okay. Sophia notices that he's kind of drinking and then sort of picking out the solid bits like the meat and vegetables. And the vegetables have like quite a bizarre, sickly shape to them. And he's just wolfing them down. Doesn't seem to care at all. And it kind of makes you look down at your stew with probably some mild discomfort.
What's a sickly shaped vegetable?
Well, a vegetable shaped
just
like mushy, holy.
Yeah,
withered,
kind of like and withered and kind of thinner stems than
fibery.
you would expect of whatever vegetable it is.
It's like, winter and stuff. It's probably
Sure.
yeah. I think maybe before eating anything, we'll also say Ergor, was it?
Yeah. He says and splutters this stew broth everywhere.
I think we actually met a little earlier in the village.
Rains down upon them, doesn't it? Told them.
What did you tell them?
Just told them that this would happen. Yeah.
And they didn't believe you.
No.
Why not? How did you know it was going to happen?
I know lots that people don't think I know.
We have a strong suspicion that this illness is caused by drinking befouled water. We are concerned the water that you might be drinking, and even the water in this stew, could be poisonous.
But I'm fine.
Are you? You have quite a hacking cough, sir.
I'm not the one being punished, it's them.
You said they were
Well-
sinners.
Yeah.
What have they done?
Things the spirit don't like.
It's the spirit that's punishing them, is it? Any spirits in particular?
They don't tell me their names.
You've spoken to them. And Sophia will look very interested at this.
No, but they speak to me.
I mean, kind of as a Varigol, kind of sharing stories and things like that. Like, is this the kind of thing that like some people will say it's a bit of a sort of folklore thing that people will have said, like you hear of like people saying they spoke to the spirits and it's a bit yes, they're off with the fairies, or is it quite unusual? Is it a bit more common in like certain areas? Like how I'm trying to gauge like how weird this is.
So the whole thing with the Demorphin is that they basically communicate with sort of nature spirits.
But this seems a bit
typically
different to that, right?
Yeah, typically people typically people don't tend to behave like Ergor is behaving or talk like he is talking.
I don't know.
So it seems quite out of the ordinary to you from your experience.
I can see very little difference between Ergor and Theon.
Rude.
Don't say that, obviously.
And Ergor takes his bowl and scoops it back into the pot and drinks some more and pulls out some of this.
Can I see any yellow crystals around the top of the? Because if this stew has been kind of boiling, it's a long shot.
If the stew's already got a colour to it, it might also mask that a little bit.
Make me a perception roll. It's all perception rolls.
God.
And it's going to be a pretty difficult one. Just because it's so dim in here as well.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it wasn't great. 9.
Okay. You can't see anything to specifically suggest that this is the same situation as the water that you'd boiled before.
These spirits, are they punishing the village, you say?
Yeah.
Well, we would like to have a word with them. Where can we find them?
What what do you mean?
Where do they live? Where do these spirits live?
I don't know. They just speak to me.
Here?
Anywhere.
What are the villagers being punished for?
Being sinners.
But what is their sin?
I don't know. It's not for me to pass judgment.
But not everybody's getting sick. So not everybody is a sinner.
Perhaps some have been cleansed.
We saw a bear that was sick. Could a bear be a sinner too?
That was left field. Nice work.
Fogger's like, there's some pretty wise people in the room.
I have to water my vegetables, he says, and gets up and just walks out of the door. He leaves the door open.
You know what? That's a power play. That's a power move. I like it.
I like it, yeah. I'm taking notes.
I respect that.
Oh, so many phone conference calls that I could. That'd be
Ready by Tuesday?
He picks up a bucket on his way, and you see him walking past the vegetable patch and towards.
Does he leave the door open?
Yeah.
He's not locking us in here.
No.
Can I
was
pour
so
my
sure
stew back into his cauldron?
As the light kind of spills in as he opens the door, and you get a bit more light in here, you see that the walls are covered in some kind of esoteric inscriptions that none of you can understand.
I'm gonna say like a prayer of protection over my. I mumble a kind of protective prayer for myself.
Yeah, I'll pour my stew back and then sort of get up and sort of follow him out to the or maybe just to the doorway and like watch him and see if he is like just out in the garden. Just watch him for a moment, and if he doesn't seem to move, he does seem to just be kind of thoughtfully watering his vegetables. And might go over again to chat a bit more, but yeah, see if he's even there first.
Yeah, so he's still wandering towards the river when you get up, and you see him big scoop of water from the river, and then head back over towards the vegetable patch. Having noticed the sort of withering nature of the vegetables in the stew, you now notice that these vegetables that he's growing here look to be contaminated in some way. They're sort of growing at strange angles, and
they're not ready for the village fair for best cucumber. They're not going to win any
Not yet.
prizes. Not yet.
Can I help you at all?
Spill some water on the floor. No. And he just kind of goes along a row, and then another row, and another row, sloshing out bit by bit.
How long have you been here? You had this home.
I've never not been here.
You've lived here all your life, you mean?
Yeah.
Do you have any friends in the village or anywhere else?
Sinners. No.
Right, of course.
I think we should be going. I don't know what more there is to gain from this. If he doesn't know where these spirits live, we'll just have to go and find them ourselves.
I think you're taking the spirits very literally.
Isn't that?
But yes,
It doesn't Theon believe in the power of the powerful spirits that guide him?
Are you guys still in the shack, or are you?
I'm sure. I mean, I'm leaving. Probably putting my rucksack on.
yeah. I think I'll be sort of getting closer towards the, standing between the shack and the path, with an obvious desire to be moving somewhere else.
Have you? After a very awkward pause, have the spirits always spoken to you?
No. Just, he looks up, and you can see in that nice winter way, you can see the moon in the sky. Since last time it was like this.
Oh, just recently. Have they ever told you anything else? Did they tell you any other warnings or stories, or were you here when they spoke to you the first time?
Yeah. I was sleeping. They woke me up.
I hope you don't mind me noticing, but you had some very interesting markings inside your home. I've travelled quite a lot, and I've never seen anything quite like it. Is that an ancient tongue of the area?
It's what the spirits say to me. I put it on the walls so I don't forget.
Very sensible. I'm sorry we've taken up so much of your time today. I just always interested in hearing somebody's stories. You've been very, very kind. offering us a meal as travellers on the road. But I think I think it looks like my friends are keen to get a move on before it gets too late.
If you fall ill, the Demorthan in the village believes she has a cure. Some herbs.
Ergo won't. Won't get ill.
Yep. I can see that. I can see that now. We must be off. Plenty of walking ahead today.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for your time, Ergor. Very hospitable. And I guess I'll follow the others and get moving.
Yeah, I'm just going to go.
Mm.
I want to looking back occasionally to make sure he's always still there, like tending, rather
Does he
than
just keep
disappeared.
staring at us? Or...
Yeah, when you look back, he's continuing to stare at you with just the bucket down at his side, holding it in his right hand.
Right, I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on things. So, constant vigilance.
I feel like the pace maybe picks up a bit.
Yes. Probably stay quiet for a few hundred yards. Perhaps he's got super hearing as well.
Yeah, the same thoughts. But yeah, I think when we feel like we're sure that we're out of earshot, and then travel on a bit further again, feel doubly sure that we're out of earshot.
Everybody just like glances at each other.
Yeah, maybe just relay what I kind of gleaned from him in case anybody hadn't heard it from within the shack. I really wanted to ask him about his speed and strength and things, but it just seemed a bit rude. I didn't know how to do that.
Yeah, no, that was good. There's a story back where I come from about a big bad wolf, and they ask, how did you get your huge teeth? And then all of a sudden, that wolf eats the travellers, and this whole thing reminded me of that. I didn't like it very much at all.
No, I can't say I was terribly comfortable, but he seemed very different there than he did in the village.
Almost genial.
Seemed a lot more personable.
Well, it just shows you can never trust someone just for being a good host. Wise lesson for all of us.
I think I took an opposite. I think I came at it from quite the other angle. No matter how scary somebody seems, he still seems to be a person.
I'm not sure he's well.
I'm not sure he's well either.
I don't think I'm not so certain about his. He seemed very assured that he's not going to get sick, but I'm not so certain.
If he's been talking to the spirits for a month?
Only a month.
And the miner, Naylan, has been sick for
weeks.
A little over a month, I guess, weeks. Is it possible he was watering his vegetable patch from the river? And that
he was watering his vegetable patch from the river.
And those vegetables are
the timing,
right? Yeah,
the timing certainly seems to be connected.
He's not grown sick as the others have, but perhaps this taint has affected him. Yeah.
Jonny, can I sort of thinking back over the conversation with him? Did he seem like fairly genuine? Did he seem fairly, did he seem fairly honest and kind of open, or yeah?
He 100%, as far as you're concerned, you can make a roll if you want on relation. I think would probably be the appropriate one.
It's not terribly good.
Is it okay for Fulgood to do that, or?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
7
if you're discussing it, then yeah. What was that? Sorry, Inga.
7 for me.
Okay.
I rolled an 18.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. In your throughout your discussion with each other about this, you come to the conclusion that whether it's true or not, Urgor believes 100% that everything that he has said is true.
That crazy old man is sure of every word he said, is what Fulger's opinion is. But you might not trust Fulger because he has lots of opinions.
I'm not really quite sure what to make of it. And he seems. It was very strange. He also seems to think he's always been here. That's that same sort of line again.
I mean, who's to say he hasn't?
I've always lived here, and I've always been. I don't know. Something about it seems a little strange. He's never made any friends. Doesn't know anybody else here.
Well, I've travelled around a lot, but I have no one in my life either.
He's travelled.
Some people.
Though. He hasn't
Well,
traveled. He stayed right here, and no one knows him, and he knows nobody.
Well, he's got the spirits.
Well, he has a spirit now.
Bjorn, is this at all? This is from the Demorthan that I know. The way he spoke about the spirits doesn't sound at all familiar to me. But what about your experience? Sorry, Jonny.
Well, I'm not sure that this is the same thing. I think that this is a man who is unwell.
I'm not sure if he's unwell or what, but I didn't think it was the spirits as I understood them.
If he really is communicating with some spirits, then they seem to be much more vengeful and negative than the ones that the Demorthan communicate with.
Can't help but shake I can't shake a horrible feeling. That vengeance feels very like the vengeance sought in the castle. Perhaps there was a way of poisoning wells and poisoning minds. Anyway.
We should continue to the mill, I think.
Do we think he's following us?
You can make perception rolls if you want to check behind you.
8.
At 10.
15. 15 for me.
Okay. You are pretty certain that he is not following you.
That's good.
Good. Noticeably relax.
Can you each make me a travel roll to see how well you are traversing the cold tundra?
I rolled a 3 for a total of 11.
Oh, not bad.
Wow.
Okay. I rolled a 7 and got 12.
I rolled a 1, which gives me 9. But
You didn't roll another one, did you?
I need to roll it twice. That's right. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, the second one's an 8.
Cool. Okay.
So, yeah.
You managed to keep a relatively good pace throughout the time that you're traveling. And you can see the mill up ahead of you. It is going to be getting dark soon. Do you want to push onto the mill and, potentially stay there? Or do you want to sort of set up somewhere now and go there in the morning?
When you say we can see the mill, Like, is it, off in the distance, many hours travel away, or is it
Like, I'd say the point that you spot it is probably a mile.
we can go another mile?
Yeah, that sounds. It would be
Yeah.
better to. Yeah, I'd
Okay.
agree with that.
Cool. So you approach, and you are welcomed by the sound of the barking of two dogs, you think, from inside. And you hear some kind of shouting, and the dogs quieten down. And you see the front door open, and lamp is lit outside the front door. And you see a man standing there looking out at you. And he says, Good evening.
We're travellers from Melbourne. We bring the good news. The Demorthen Wayland was asking after you. We thought we'd stop. We were asked to stop by to check in.
Right, you are. Well, we're
You are Gota. Is that your?
yes. There are a few of us here, and we're all not so well, I'm afraid.
Is it the sickness? Theo may be able to help.
Theon kind of gets a bit closer, and he says, I would stay back. I'm not sure how this spreads between people. You would be aware probably that in fact yeah, I think you'd probably be aware that these people may not know what's going on in the village at the moment.
Yeah.
So if they've all suddenly been struck down with an illness and are here, they might be.
Well, we can test ask them where they get their water from, and test that source.
Yeah, we think the danger is in the water rather than something that spreads between people. We're actually also traveling to test water, and you may be better collecting snow water to drink. That seems to be safe for those in the village.
Go on, Justin.
Is it a water mill or a windmill? Or like
It's a water mill, and
Right.
As you kind of twig that, you realise that you can hear the running of water around the back of the mill, which you presume to be the river.
And this river is the one that goes past the Hermit's place,
You
I presume?
presume it is the same thing, yeah.
We've seen others in the village where people living together haven't both been struck ill. I don't want to speak for you, Theon, but if you can help these people, if you're willing to let us,
Yes.
of course.
If you're sure that you won't get it from us, then I don't see why not. There are a number of us in here. There's my wife, son and daughter, and her husband and their 3 children, so if you can do anything to help us, we could offer you a place to stay for the evening.
I think I'd look to Theon for guidance, or like a yes or a no on that.
She Theon kind of nods at you, and moves towards the door. And you notice that the man stood in the doorway. He cast quite an imposing figure when you were further back, but as you got closer, you think he's kind of slumped a little and he's looking a little clammy. So yeah, it looks like the other people who were ill, apart from Naylan, who was obviously a level above. Yeah.
And perhaps we can also get some water from the river while we're here, and
Test it.
that as well. Yeah.
When did you start getting sick, might I ask?
Just a couple of days ago, I think. Yeah,
that's hard.
Well, like I say, what we've just been in the village. We went to collect herbs from Dirk to help with the medicines that Wayland's been creating. But we discovered something strange about the water in the well, and having tested the water in the river, there's something unusual that we think is connected. So we'll test it here as well, and let you know. But the villagers have been collecting snow water and rainwater, which seems to be safe so far. So I'd recommend that you do the same, rather than relying on the water here from the river.
We usually do that, but we ran out a few days ago, and I stupidly took some from the river.
Not stupid at all. Hopefully we can help. I'll see if there's anything I can do to help with Fionn, with what Fion's doing with tending to people. Seems like there's quite a lot of people who are sick.
Cool. So everybody is in sort of a similar state to what the young Wilby Lord was in. So they're sort of feverish and clammy, but they're nowhere near Nayland's sort of, near death. So yeah, anybody's kind of chattable too. So there are the miller's name is Gota. His wife's name is Rondina. Their son is called Joban. Their daughter is Jilly. And her husband is Irvin. And they have 3 children.
How old are the kids, roughly? Are they talking age?
They're sort of toddler or below.
Then maybe not so useful then for info, but we'll maybe ask someone. Well, because I was thinking kids maybe chat and have stories about that mad old hermit down the road. Was kind of where I was thinking, but maybe just have to ask the adults instead of the kids. If they
have been a busy family. Do you all live together in this one mill?
Yes.
Lovely.
You haven't happened to see a miner. Do you happen to know Oktar? There's a miner named Oktar. We're trying to trace him at the moment. We wonder whether he's travelled to the mill.
Don't know any of them by name, but Joban, you saw that. And Joban says, yes, a few weeks ago at dusk, I wasn't sure at first, but there was the silhouettes of 2 men. And one of them, well, scared the dogs, he did, with his screaming. Well, yeah, they were headed towards Melwan. So I don't know if that's...
2 of them together.
Yeah.
And when was this, sorry? A few weeks ago.
A few weeks ago, yeah.
Less than a month or more.
Around a month.
That
I
could be the
suppose.
miners. They might have been merry and making their way back to town with their spoils.
Just look at Fulgo.
It seems strange that if that
I'm
was
sure there's nothing to think, nothing out of sorts with screaming figures at dusk. We've all been there, haven't we, lads? I don't think Fulgo would say that.
everyone could see him thinking it.
The impropriety. The impropriety.
If Octa and Naylan, if that was Octa and Naylan, then Naylan made it back, but Octa didn't. Or he ended up somewhere else.
Perhaps.
Gota says another slightly weird thing is that there's a giantist, Talassian. I think he's been doing something up the hill, but I've seen him with a couple of his cronies lurking near the village a few times in the past few weeks when I've been to deliver. No idea why.
Has this Magiantus been around for a while? Or is he new to Melwan and the area?
He's been around for a little while, but he's not a local.
There's no crime against being a traveller, eh, Sophia?
No, not at all. You're pretty hypocritical of me.
But still, perhaps we should go and check on this Talassian and warn them about the dangers of the water.
I didn't mean anything about travelling, of course, Fulgo. I just wondered whether this person might be known in the village at all, or it made any connections or friends. Perhaps not. You said he had cronies. That seems...
In disparaging terms, sir.
Exactly.
I believe them to be mercenaries that he's hired for his protection.
Often up to no good. I say, what with a wandering eye over Chile. Those mercenary types take anything they want, won't they? Goodness me.
She's a miller's daughter. She has no idea what you're talking about.
Sure. Miller's daughter with 3 toddlers. She knows nothing about what I'm talking about. So 2 weeks ago, there are these miners were heading back to town. How are your? Do you grow your own vegetables here? Do you grow much food? The flour you must get the flour from the grain, I suppose, nearby. We've seen some pretty misshapen cabbages, carrots, travels. So I was wondering, how are your carrots?
There's been nothing wrong with our food.
I see.
Or the grain.
That's good to hear. Yes, it may make sense for you to head to Melwan, and there, not only can you take the flour, which is greatly needed, but you can seek help and care along with the rest of the town if there are any developments, you'll be then first to hear about them.
I suppose I could probably get everybody on the cart tomorrow.
This
Well-
Tomassian, you said he was working up towards the top of the hill.
Yes.
Is that anywhere near the mine?
Yes, I think he may be up near the mines.
Interesting coincidence.
Sorry, they didn't say. They said they hadn't really seen much of Urgor, did they? Or when asking around, like people they'd seen, and they haven't met them, or whether the mad old man.
They haven't mentioned Urgor.
No, so because I wanted to ask about Urgor as well, like in part of the conversation, just about obviously because we guess how far away was Urgor before we got to the mill? Like it's within a day's travel, right? That's reasonably close as far as go.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It was another couple of hours from Urgor's shack to here.
Yeah. We encountered that hermit, the fellow, the Urgor, on our way here. Have you had much dealing with him? Being situated where you are.
Not much. He tends to gravitate in the other direction, I think, towards the village. There's not much for him out here.
No, everyone says he's just always been here. He's never given you any bother or anything.
Not really. No. Very few run-ins with him.
But he seems harmless. Does he?
Just a strange old man.
Well, I suppose
should I set out some? I'll clear the little ones out of one room, and you can share that and hopefully get some rest. Thank you for your help here.
A strange scream.
Wailing cats.
Perhaps a miner going by.
Thank you for your kindness.
Do you have anything that you want to do before sort of just spending the evening?
I will ask Beyond to take a look at my bandages again and get a...
Oh yeah, of course. Yes, what health are you on now? How's your recovery going?
I'm hoping after a good night's rest, I'll get another couple of points back.
Nice.
You will, yeah.
Presumably, if Fion's able to test the river water, it also displays
The old
amber crystals. I don't know whether we have time to do that this evening or.
You'd probably do that in the morning, I think.
Sure.
Probably.
Okay. Yeah, we can wait till morning. But yeah, so other than the bandages, that's the only other thing for me.
Yeah, settle down, have a bit of food to eat.
Cool. Let's leave it there then for this week.
Makes sense.
No
I won't-
strange dreams.
I won't do any healing until we come back and.
Yeah, we'll sort
through the
that.
night and so on.
Remind me at the start of next session, and we'll deal with that. I need some lemon juice for my throat after all that fake coughing.
God, yeah. That's
that was good.
awful. It was awful.
It was awful. Just putting people in my throat just listening to you.
I like the use of coughs to ratchet up tension. It's like each one a little cliffhanger of a word.
Yeah.
My favourite part was saying I'm not ill while doing that.
You sure?
Cool. So any questions or comments, put them in the chat and we'll put them up on screen and discuss. Sorry, Inga, what were you going to say?
just that entering a shack with a strange man, just serious flashbacks to Call of Cthulhu was what was going through my head at the time.
Yep.
So yeah, promo stuff. This is Monday nights. Wednesday nights are Simba Room. Thursday nights is the new World of Darkness thing, which at the moment is Vampire. And in like 3 weeks will be something else, and so on and so on. And then join us on Discord and vote for which of our one-shot adventures you want a sequel to in December. And join us on our social media and all that good stuff. Let's put that one on. Lord Malice, bring on the nightmares of shriveled veggies and phlegm-filled stew. Delicious, delicious phlegm-filled stew.
That was so grim. It really wasn't pleasant.
It really was.
Sorry.
No, I loved it. I thought that was great. I liked it a lot. I really am enjoying like Fulger's complete incapacity to see anything or hear anything, but like really getting a good read on people. But maybe no one ever really believes him.
I completely lost it when you were chatting about the misshapen vegetables stuff, because it's all completely true. We have seen all that stuff, but it just seems like the maddest thing to be talking about and asking other people about.
Can I have a look at your vegetables? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like coming in bold as anything. Like, we are the authorities here. What shape are your carrots?
Have you got a misshapen cucumber?
Thanks to Night Bites and Lord Malice for the primary subscriptions as well. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Yeah, much appreciated.
I don't think there are any other questions or comments really, apart from I enjoyed Steve's when we went to the to Nayland's house. I'm just practicing for next week's screaming competition. I saw that at the time and it tickled me. So thanks, Steve. Cool. I think that's all. So join us on Wednesday for Simba Room, or Thursday for World of Darkness, or next Monday to find out who else has misshapen vegetables. Catch you all next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.